Starring Jack Sparrow in face paint, and the guy who claimed he created Facebook and almost played Batman in the 2007 failed Justice League movie. Also starring Barry fucking Pepper, and this guy. The Lone Ranger is Disney's latest attempt at a big budget franchise. The last one didn't work out too well. This movie cost $250 million. It's directed by the same guy who directed 3 of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I'm only 5 minutes into this movie and I'm surprised Disney greenlit an over-the-top Western movie. Usually in Hollywood, when you combine big budget with Western, you get shit like this.
Nice hat. When I roll into the... Whoa! That was fun!
Now listen, I'm a fan of Johnny Depp. I just wish he would stop playing cartoon characters in every movie and go back to being a human again. But in all fairness, I thought his take as Jack Sparrow, the bumbling drunk pirate who wears eyeliner, was fantastic for the first 2 pirate movies. And then the franchise got a little bit too bloated for its own good. It made me want to take a nap down in Davy Jones' locker. You see what I did there? That's okay. I know, this is a Lone Ranger movie review, not a Pirates of the Caribbean, but listen, I got just a few more things to say about Pirates of the Caribbean 3. The movie was almost 3 hours long, and honestly, ask yourself, what do you remember about the movie? I'll tell you what I remember. I remember sitting there in that theater watching some lady turn into a giant and then she exploded into crabs. What the fuck was that? Oh my god, these Chipotle peanuts are kick-ass. It's like a little fire in your mouth. You just can't wait to put it out with some Pepsi. Okay, in the beginning of the movie, we meet up with an old Johnny Depp in the 1930s. The old man prosthetics kind of remind me of Waylon from Prometheus. It's like, how the hell is this old man still alive? He looks like a piece of beef jerky. So Johnny Depp's character Tonto is playing a human mannequin on some Wild West exhibit, and then he starts telling old tales to some young kid. And then the movie takes you back in time to the Wild West and the Industrial Revolution of the Railroad. And it's here that we're introduced to Armie Hammer, the Lone Ranger. My theory on Armie Hammer is he'll end up having a career much like Sam Worthington. Studios will think he's the next big thing, then a few movies later they're gonna realize that he shouldn't be headlining big movies, you know, sort of like what happened with Taylor Kitsch. Armie Hammer in this movie plays the Boy Scout-like character John Reed, who later transforms into the Lone Ranger as an act of revenge for the death of his brother. But in this movie, the character of the Lone Ranger mixed along with Armie Hammer's performance is just sort of bland. By the way, a quick flick fact, the Lone Ranger and the Green Hornet are actually distant relatives of each other, which would explain all the similarities. Now let's talk about the Lone Ranger's sidekick, Tonto, a zany Native American played by Johnny Depp. I guess overall I didn't mind the character Tonto. At times in the movie his comedic sidekick role really works, and his character is far more likable and interesting than the Lone Ranger, who's sort of an asshole in the movie. In one scene he almost leaves his sidekick Tonto to die a horrible death. What was the point? What was the reason? There was none. He was just being an asshole. The Lone Ranger's an asshole. I stand by that. The climax of this movie takes place on a train, stuff happens, and Johnny Depp turns into a superhero. The movie follows that typical Hollywood big budget formula, along with every other cliche it possibly can. Watching this movie, you just can't help but notice they try to copy and paste the same success that they had with the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Much like Pirates of the Caribbean 3, the movie's just way too long for the story that it had to offer, and you could really feel the minutes adding up towards the 2-hour mark. You could have easily removed 30 minutes of this movie and not missed a thing. So I think I'm gonna give The Lone Ranger a D+. It's just not that good of a movie. It's just a bloated mess that goes on way too long, and it makes me tired. So anyway guys, here's my question to you. What is your favorite Western movie of all time? I'm gonna have to say mine is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Clint Eastwood playing a badass, you can't go wrong. So anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and check out my last video. I'll see you next time.